welcome to episode 344 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, and Mac, as well as related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I have a number of guests this week. This is so great. I got a full panel here. Let's start off with Chuck Joyner. How you doing, Chuck? Thanks for being here.
I'm great, Dave. You told me there was nobody coming tonight, and gee, it's a party.
I know. I didn't.
It's a party.
That's because I'm pleasantly surprised that Kelly Guimont has made a return appearance on the show. How you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing well, David. I hope you're well as well.
I am as well. I'm glad you're here, as well as Guy Serle. He's also here this week. How you doing, Guy?
Caught me in mid-Gatorade. No, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then our usual regular contributors, we got Marty Jencius. How you doing, Marty?
You know, Thursday is my favorite day of the week because I get to teach family therapy. Then I get to come here.
Awesome. I thought you were talking about this.
Yeah, no.
And family therapy, yeah.
Tonight I did family therapy. And family therapy, I taught the students that they grow up and become one of their parents and then marry the other one. So they were really impressed.
So they're all at a bar right now, is what I'm hearing.
It's great
my
to mess
wife
with
isn't anything like my mother.
Yeah.
So she has to
my
take care of
gosh.
all my money.
And last but certainly not least, I'm glad he's back. Ben Roethig. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, except for the Oedipus complex connotations that Marty just introduced.
Yes.
No one
Let's
does.
moving us along quickly here. So we've got plenty to talk about this week. It seems like Apple's had a lot of good discussions. Are in touch with Vision Pro this week, in touch with Mac this week. No beta this week, but plenty of other things to talk about, and many other things. So let's start with in touch with Vision Pro. Vision Pro has turned 1 year old. It was February 3rd this week as we record. It launched, and of course, the first thing everybody says, oh yeah, this is a $3,500 AR VR headset for over 365 days now. So over the course of last year, there's been reports that they say it's not selling well. Surprised the high point. We've talked about this a billion times. So what do you think of next? What do you think, Marty? Where do you think we're going next from here? Now our Vision Pros are a year old.
Well, just a year and 9 months ago, we were doing gender reveal parties. It's its first birthday, so lots of photographs, inappropriate gifts for someone who's that young because they don't really know what's going on anyways.
Recording in progress.
I'm excited about the potential for it, but everybody keeps tossing things out. It's sort of, no, we're not going to have a Vision Pro 2. Yes, we're going to have a Vision Pro 2. No, we're not going to have glasses. Yes, we're going to have glasses. Now we're not going to have tethered glasses. So when people refer to the glasses are off the table, what's off the table are tethered glasses, and who would want that anyways? So who knows what we're going to get next?
Yeah,
I think the next generations of software updates, Vision OS software, will probably incorporate more Apple Intelligence in it. Maybe not to the level that we'd like it to. We might have a smarter Siri come out of it, but that's a low bar right there. And so who knows what's going to happen with it? I'm enjoying it. People, I think, are rediscovering it. The apps are being made for it that are much more exciting now. So we'll see.
Yeah, Kelly, did you ever do a demo for the Vision Pro?
I did. It was a lot of fun, and this is one of those things that Apple made that, like, I like it. I don't have a place for it, and still don't. A year later, I haven't even been like, there are a lot of times I would really like to strap the future to my face and do the thing, and just don't have the opportunity. Like, I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also not everybody. So I never thought this product was a failure. The first one was never going to be the ubiquitous thing that everybody thought, that everybody sort of presumed, I guess, that it was going to be. And it was kind of interesting to watch it roll out because I think there were a lot of people expecting it to be everything, and I think that's why everybody sort of unofficially renamed it Apple Vision Pro, which sells for $3,500 MSRP, because that's apparently the whole entire name, right? So it was never going to be the iPhone. It was never going to be the iPad. In the grand scheme of things, that was never its intention. So this is something that eventually is going to, like, once there's more ecosystem around it, once it's been around a while, we've got another iteration of it, which will have the most obvious thing that Marty and everyone else, I don't know what it is, but the most obvious thing that needs to be in the second generation. When those things come out and it becomes something that's more common, a little bit more mature, there are more people who are developing things for it. Somebody makes the great whatever it's going to be, for that. I am like, it's still continuing to evolve. It's very, very early on, and I still see a lot of potential in it. And like, the people who love it really love it. I haven't seen anybody who got one who was like, it's fine.
No.
Kelly, do you know what the best accessory for the Vision Pro is? The Apple
big-ass
savings
battery?
No, the Apple savings account, because you can kind of tuck money away there until the next one comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been joking for more than a year now, because it was announced well before anybody was able to get their hands on one. I'm not interested in the Apple Vision Pro. I'm interested in the Apple Vision Air, the Apple Vision SE. Like one of those. I'll have one of those.
Yeah.
But this was always sort of a large scale proof of concept anyway. So I'm just excited to see where it continues to go, because I've seen a lot of interesting use, and I've seen things evolve over time, and I've seen a little bit of the change in the software and how the experience has improved, and I'm glad for it. I want to see. But the thing I'm the most curious about with the Apple Vision Pro doesn't even really have anything to do with the Apple Vision Pro. It's the sort of things Marty was mentioning, like the S Lady may get better, or there may be other, maybe something with battery technology where, phones can have a better battery life, or watches can have a better battery life, because they've been spending a lot of time on optimizing, like, the power management for that kind of stuff. So, like, the sort of ripple effects of what we're going to get from the Vision Pro is the parts that I'm the most interested in at this point.
Ben, what's your thoughts on 1 year after?
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar to Kelly's. I mean, there's a reason they went with the Pro end instead of the Apple Vision to begin this with. They're trying to start the new stuff. This isn't the Apple mixed reality headset, so it might pick up a lot of those features as it becomes more consumer oriented. But I mean, this is for doctors who want surgery training or that type of thing. And it may never become a fully mainstream product, but that's okay. It's something different.
I feel like spiritually it has a lot in common with the Mac Pro, more than it does like the iPhone or the watch or the iPad, those kinds of things. It's much more the Mac Pro.
Yes, this is the full trash can headset.
Yep. Guy or Chuck, you have anything to add on this?
Right, Chuck.
I don't know that there's a lot to add. I mean, I think this is such a new product category that it's going to take a while to develop. And it's interesting. It has to develop in parallel with the device itself, because the device itself is so new that for productivity, I mean, we've seen plenty of gaming headsets, but I think, Apple's focus has been more on being able to do things with this, along with, some of the entertainment aspects of it. So I think it's early days, and I think it's going to be early days for a while. That doesn't mean it's a failure. It just means it's early days.
Yeah, I tried one at MacStock when Marty and somebody else brought theirs in. And I got to say, it was kind of fun to try it, but a lot of the feature set with, 3D and all the rest of it was kind of lost on me because, I only have one eye. So it doesn't really work in the same way for me as it would for other people.
Right.
And
Yeah.
this is a product, even if I had two eyes, this is not a product that I would be looking to buy. But with just one eye, I'm looking for something that's more along the lines of something to help with a disability like this, where you have cameras on both sides of glasses like this, and it puts both of those images onto, either the left or the right screen, I guess you could call it, so that somebody with just one eye has better vision going across the spectrum. Because I would pay the crap out of something like that. I would be, you would find me standing in line looking in the wrong direction, but I would be in that line to buy it. So, I don't know if anybody makes anything like that. I don't know if it's a big enough market for someone to make it something like that, or if someone can take an existing product and make it work like that. I have no idea, but it's something that I would love to see, and I don't know if anyone ever will.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely work in progress, but I'm enjoying it. I know Marty is too, and I'd just like to see. I want to see more. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things ahead here. Speaking of, there's there are potentially some three upgrades that could be expected from Apple this year with this, and we talked about it. Apple Intelligence, and especially for Siri. More gaming support. We've talked about that before, and much more in the immersive video realm. There was some two incredible movies that I just saw. This past week was the Man versus Beast, which was a rodeo, and it was incredible. I mean, you got the horse jumping out at you, and just very immersed. And this artist that I didn't know, she actually is a pretty good singer. Her name is Ray, Raye, and boy, the camera was zoomed right in on her as she was singing, and it really immersed me into the music and into the session, because they were there with the band there in a recording studio, and I thought that was really cool. Did you see that, Marty?
Yeah, I did. We've already had a conversation. I was not a big fan of the bull riding.
Yeah, it was okay. It was kind of weird.
I really wanted it first person. I wanted to have my head bounce around like a cowboy would, and have to make the ocular adjustments.
And watch the Vision Pro go flying across the room.
I really wanted that vision. And I think Eric said, well, maybe we can, maybe if they did it with a gimbal. You don't want it with a gimbal. You want to have that full visual craziness going on. That would have been a different way to do that video than any of the other videos that have been done. But each video brings a different experience and a different expression of how spatial photography and videography can work. This really didn't have that. So,
yeah. So it was just like another thing to experiment with, but I expect more great things in the immersive world for that. So,
yeah.
Lastly, I want to talk real quick is this was interesting. I found through ZDNet that I tried Netflix on Vision Pro and now it's awesome. And here's what changed. I said Netflix finally works seamlessly on Safari, offering a solid entertainment experience without the need of third-party apps. And basically, here's how you watch. All you do is you just play the Netflix in Safari when you have a Netflix account. Open in the browser to log in. You can choose any movie or TV show you want to watch, and then you're not giving a lot of control, but you can move the video image, place yourself into the environment, scale the video as large as you'd like. And he's watching Star Trek Prodigy, which is a good choice there, and it made it as big as possible. And he said subjectively it made the viewing screen considerably larger than in my living room. So overall, I thought that it was a good experience. I have not tried this yet. Have you, Marty?
No,
Netflix?
I haven't touched my Netflix account for quite some time, and particularly through the headset. I mean, because of the trouble with it. I'm curious with at least
me too
with
now.
the review on
Since
this
I got
article.
this, I didn't get a chance to do that. So,
and they mentioned another app in that article that he was using up to that point that I didn't know about. That was sort of helpful for Netflix. Why doesn't Netflix just come out with their own damn app? They need to just give up
like
on
YouTube.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're a little bit stubborn.
we knew that.
A little.
No,
I
they're
wish
a lot
they were
stubborn. They're a lot
stubborn with their
If they were any
prices.
more stubborn, you'd call them Kelly. They're that stubborn. It's anytime a company makes a decision like that, like there's an entire ecosystem, there's a way that you can go about this that's sort of the easy way for people to get to your stuff. Like, you know, the example is always Starbucks, right? Like the thing Starbucks is good at is not coffee. It is extracting money from people. They make it so easy to give you money. There are all kinds of ways that you can do it. Same idea here. Like Netflix continues to choose to make it harder for people to watch Netflix and then goes, well, gee, nobody's watching Netflix. I guess we have to raise the price. And it just isn't, yeah.
Death spiral.
You know, so I might throw one other thing in, and that, you don't hear this kind of thing often, but Netflix has enough money to take a little bit of a flyer if they feel like it's a flyer on the Apple Vision Pro. I don't see how anybody from an entertainment perspective can go into an Apple store, do a demo, and say, this is a flyer. This is a superior experience. And why you would choose not to invest some money in that superior experience mystifies me. Because I don't know that Netflix is the killer app that will bring a massive amount of people to the Apple Vision Pro, but it sure would incent a lot of people to do so and support Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, entertainment is the killer app. It's just not fully developed yet.
Yeah. It's a good bit of ways to go. The app that was mentioned in the article, it was called Supercut, a streaming hub, and it does work with both Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. It's $4.99 if you wanted to try that out on your Vision Pro. So it's again, they got a bit of a ways to go when it comes to a lot of these apps. We've been trying a number of them, but some are pretty good, some are not so good, but it's getting there.
Well, and Netflix is one of the ones that you can't hook up to the TV app on the Apple TV, right? Where like it shows you all your stuff down the side, and Netflix is not one of them. So
yeah, hence why I don't watch it.
And I don't watch as much Netflix because it's not sitting there in the sidebar staring at me.
I mean, it's why Apple made their app available for all the smart TVs. It's like it's better to have more eyeballs than
oh, no question.
Give up part of the pie to get more eyeballs on your product.
I understand I'm not the only game in town, full stop. And I feel like somebody at Netflix has yet to internalize this information.
The part that confuses me is Netflix has tiers in terms of streaming level, and I think they have a 4K tier. It's like if you've got people running on a lower tier and they have an Apple Vision Pro headset, they're going to want to bump it up to the 4K if they're going to watch Netflix. So it's not only having it on more places, but having it on devices that can fully utilize the streaming capabilities that your highest tier pays for.
Great point, Marty.
Very good point. So, all right, let's go and move on away from Vision Pro here. Beta this week. Well, there is no beta at the moment. We're waiting for iOS 18.4, and it's anticipated it may come out next week. We don't know as of yet, but for right now, already iOS 18.3.1, an update is coming soon just for iPhone. It's been found that there's some internal testing going on for iPhones, and seeing upcoming OS versions. It could be just a minor upgrade. Usually that's the case if it's a .1 update, probably some software bugs and security vulnerabilities. There was quite a few security vulnerabilities in 18.3, so maybe they found a few others. So we don't know just yet, but we will find out. And when it comes out, I always recommend making sure you do that update. And then there was a special new version of iOS 18.3 for the iPhone 11. Apple did release a version specifically for the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. It's got a different build number. It's just the main features were Apple Intelligence and related, including the visual intelligence. And of course, those iPhones do not support that. And it does update a new calculator feature to use the testing of the mathematical operations. So it did add a few features that the iPhone 11 wasn't going to get. So that's a good thing. But you still got to upgrade. The iPhone 11 is getting a little old in the.
Yeah, don't those open up like those Star Trek communicators?
Yeah.
Hey,
remember when we had those Star Trek communicators?
My work iPhone is an iPhone 11. It's a red phone.
Okay, as long as it works.
Mostly it's fine. Yeah.
When you pick it up and it's like cobwebs.
Everybody humor her.
Yeah.
It's fine, guy. It's fine.
Great.
My phone is fine. All I ever, honestly, I really mostly need it for making phone calls and receiving phone calls and occasionally text messaging.
Yeah,
It's
my wife
mostly
is still on an
my
SE2.
computer when I'm not at my desk. So
she won't give up her SE2. I keep saying, let me get you a new phone. And she's like, no, I like it's like, okay.
So funny you say that, guy, because the iPhone SE4 possibly is launching as soon as next week, according to Mark Bloomberg and Mark Gurman and Bloomberg. They're not expected to hold an event, and they'll probably just instead unveil it the device through a press release. It's expected to have an iPhone 14 style design with the Apple eliminating the thick bezels and the Touch ID and the home button of the current SE. And when the SE4 launches, it will mark the end of the Touch ID in the iPhone lineup. They're planning on unveiling its custom in-house modem for this SE4. That kind of scares me. That will be the first iPhone to have a new modern modem chip from Apple, and it won't be as advanced as Qualcomm's. It still will be a step forward. Apple's looking to cut its reliance on Qualcomm. It will support Apple Intelligence, and it'll probably be equipped with the same A18 chip as that's in the iPhone 16 and 8 gigs of RAM. Jeez, this is going to be a good bargain depending on what they're going to ask for it. But they'll have the USB-C port, and that will be the last of the iPhones that have removed the Lightning connector.
Yeah, they can go away.
Right now the SE is priced at $429. I bet they will increase the price a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised.
Or $5.
Yeah, maybe $499. I don't know about $599.
I'm going to say $499.
Yeah, because I mean,
it's entry.
Yeah, it might be $499. But guy, what do you think? You going to buy one for your wife?
She is not a fan of Face ID, and I keep telling her that sooner or later that Touch ID sensor is going to die. And that she needs to just go ahead and bite the bullet and get one, or let me get her one. And and it's like she's still on a 2017 iMac. She won't let me update her stuff. I mean, I don't have it yet, but I just bought an M4 Pro Mac Mini, and my M1. I'm gonna eventually, when she lets me, I will move that to her desk along with a separate monitor. But sometimes getting people to update their tech is like pulling teeth. And she used to be in IT, so I don't get it. It's like
it works.
Here's better tech.
Touch it. That's how you know she's.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
I've got everything how I want it, and I never need to change it to any other thing again. Yep.
I've got my 35 tabs open in Google and Safari. You don't need to touch anything, and you can't even see where they are. They're so small. They're little tiny tabs.
Yeah, they're like that big.
Did I 35?
If not more. She does a lot of genealogy.
I have several internets open in tabs at any given point.
Yeah. I mentioned at the top of the show that I taught a family therapy course before this show tonight. And thinking about what you just said, Guy, you should be happy your wife doesn't throw out old things.
Yeah, I'd be gone in an instant.
Any thoughts on the SE, Chuck or Ben? I know you hate rumors.
I'm not an SE person, so I will defer to Ben's wisdom.
I think this will be more expensive than people are thinking, because this isn't replacing just the SE2 or SE3, excuse me. This is also replacing the iPhone 14.
Right. Because the 14 is going to be gone.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe.
$499.
So So, Guy, funny you mentioned your Mac Mini because I put that in our show notes here, and said that Guy's getting a new Mac Mini M4 that you had said on Tuesday. So, tell us which version you got of the Mac Mini.
I got the high end M4 Pro, 48 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte internal storage.
Wow!
And I've got an OWC Thunderbolt 4 hub. It's got like 3 Thunderbolt 4 outputs. And then I've got this other hub that I've been dying to use, but I'm so afraid to take apart everything that I currently have to try it. Because it might be like, wait, hold on. These wires go where again? No. And it'll all stop working and I will be one sad bunny. So until the M4 comes, I'm just going to leave it alone.
Well, what will be interesting to hear? Go ahead.
Weren't you just the one who was complaining whose wife wouldn't upgrade because she didn't want to take anything apart?
Yeah, but see, her not wanting to update 6 to 8 year old technology versus me just going, oh, okay, well, it's a newer Mac Mini. It's, when I get a new computer, that's when I take everything apart and completely reconfigure everything because I can. Once it's all hooked up and once it's all working, I don't touch it until there's some different kind of gear that needs to connect up to it. Like I've got this Rodecaster.
He means a microphone, guys.
No, microphones are easy.
He's got that Rodecaster.
Yeah, it just plugs into a Rodecaster and then I just make my adjustments. Like I said, Earthworks Ethos, Lewitt 440 Pure, the shelf behind me, about 1 billion more.
We know. We know how much you love microphones.
Yeah, I should wrap them all in plastic and bring them to your house sometime.
No, you kind of did that.
If I
remember correctly.
Sorry.
So we'll be interesting to hear when you get it set up and what your thoughts are on it. Because
first.
Awesome.
Too long.
I will also mention, since we're talking about Mac Mini, and Sateki did release the M4 Mac Mini hub with the SSD enclosure. It's up for purchase for limited quantities.
Yep.
I made the purchase, and I know Marty did too. This is a pretty amazing enclosure. It's the same size as the Mac Mini M4, and it is very, very cool. And they kicked it off. It starts at $99. I was able to find a coupon for 20% off, so I got it for $79. Nice. What a deal!
My only problem with those is that they're all USB-C, so you're giving up quite a bit of speed and losing a Thunderbolt.
No, it's got front-facing USB-A ports too.
No, I'm talking about you're losing a Thunderbolt port off your Mac.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because I've got one here from my Mac Mini, and I do like it. The biggest reason why I got it was the built-in hard drive that you can put in it. But I've got a 4-bay thing that I'm also backing it up to. So when the new Mac Mini comes, I probably won't go with one of those. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
But
all the Marty's excited.
Ones like it, Satachi is a good name.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Marty's excited to get it too, because we both bought it the same day. You muted.
He's so excited he's speechless.
I ordered it like you did, and I think it's a great race to see who's going to get theirs from San Diego first. But I also have a Cal Digit, and I got that at Jill of the Northwoods' suggestion. Actually, she talked about it, and I started looking at it, and I'm enjoying that interface too. So I'm going to have more holes than things to plug into.
This is true. So I'm excited to get it. We'll see what happens. As far as beta goes, or at 15.3 on Sequoia, there was a fix for Super Duper. That was quite a big topic this week about the fact that Apple broke the ability to be creating a bootable backup, and 15.3 did resolve that thing that happened with the bug that caused it. In Super Duper, according to developer Dave Ninen, said that it fixed addressed an issue that was introduced in 15.2 that caused the SuperDuper to fail during the final stages of creating a bootable backup due to a resource busy error. And then it's out now, and it looks like it will work again. But I know we had a bit of a debate on this on Mac Voices, but of bootable disks. But nice to see that Apple did fix it. But there's no mention of carbon copy cloner because I use that. But I've kind of given up on bootable backups ever since it was not working at the beginning. So, Kelly, what's your thoughts?
I have been trying to let go of the bootable backup. I always really liked having an exact copy. But now that the system is a little more read-only and all of the stuff that you're actually doing is living in a different partition, I feel a little better about, I just have to reinstall the operating system and it's not a big deal because I'm not losing anything when I do that. But it's a hard habit. I'm sure all of us have had the super duper carbon copy clone or whatever, just so that we could do exactly this and have, an exact copy of your hard drive, because you could use target disk mode. And that's a thing that also has kind of gone away over time, with the recovery volume and all of that. So, this actually was one that didn't affect me because I do make an occasional bootable backup, but it's not very often. So, I haven't bumped up against this on this particular bug yet. But mostly I've been trying to just be good with, I have the carbon copy cloner backup and I have a time machine backup, and then I have my cloud backup that takes it somewhere else, and that's all fine. So that I have all my stuff and I've got it backed up the way I need it to. So I've been trying to be less attached to that exact copy because it doesn't do me any, it doesn't really do me any good for anything. It's hard to boot from that bootable backup if you have a machine where that's what needs to happen. So
yeah. What do you think, Ben? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, I'm not entirely buying that this was a bug.
Okay.
But I think it's one of those things where Apple did miscalculate how much people were still calling for it. And, well, they heard it enough where they fixed it as quickly as they could.
Yep.
There are always going to be,
came up pretty quick.
Yeah, there are always going to be the people who have their super duper or carbon copy cloner backups. And, it's just another method of backing up. Just the same as Backblaze or my brain is completely blanking on Apple's little service there.
Time
machine.
But, people, whatever you use, backup, and then back up some more.
100%. I'm all over the place too, back in all kinds of different places. Guy, did you had stopped doing clones, right? Or have you been? You never did them.
No, I still use carbon copy cloner, but I stopped doing bootable. Boy, that's tough to say sometimes. Bootable back. I'd say the wrong thing. Quite some time ago, it just with being able to restore from network and all the rest of that, it just didn't seem to interest me that much. And then you just bring your data back over. I've got the backup on the Saatchi. I've got the backup on the 4-bay here. I've got Backblaze, so it's coming from there. But as far as I think I agree that this wasn't a bug or a feature. This was a deliberate move on Apple's part to try to get people away from doing bootable backups. And this isn't like the first time. If you remember all the trouble that Rogue Amoeba had with their applications, getting people to update their applications, and basically it was the outrage from the community that finally got Apple to say, "Okay, we'll give you a workaround so that it still works." And it's like the biggest reason why I don't do betas on my production machine, because if it's going to break, well, not so much anymore since I got the Roadcaster, but if it's going to break all of Rogue Amoeba's wonderful applications, then I don't want it. And I always wait to update to the latest version of the Mac OS until I hear from them to make sure that it's all still going to work.
Works. Chuck, have you been doing bootable backups? Well, we kind of talked about that, but what has meant you to stop doing it?
Well, I backed off on it just because of the whole issue of, will it work or won't it work? Because if I'm going to do a bootable backup, there are two reasons. First of all, would be to recover from a catastrophic event, and two, and maybe I'm the only one, but I can get a little paranoid with new versions of software, both system and otherwise. And so I liked in the past to boot into a bootable backup that was a current bootable backup, and then do the installations and mess around in there. And if it didn't work out, I just unplug it, boot back up to my old system, and go. So those were my two reasons. I'm going to be testing that out when I get some time with Super Duper to see if I still have that option and how that works. Because I still would love to have the bootable backup that I could take and stick in a new machine. But that seems to be something that is completely deprecated, if I understand correctly, by Apple, that the bootable, even if it's a bootable backup, it would only be on the machine that created it. So, that at least that gives me back one of my use cases for a bootable backup. And, the other thing too was, before SSDs came down in price, having a full-size bootable backup disk was not inexpensive. Now it's something down that you can pretty easily do that. So the jury's still out for me. I mean, I respect the idea, and I definitely want a regular backup in case of a catastrophic event. But I still want to play with the bootable backups and see what I can make work and what won't.
Yeah, I may revisit it. So, last word for Marty on this.
I used to do bootable backups, and I kind of did them because everybody said you need to do them. And I would do them on a fairly regular basis, not as much as I should have, but more than most folks, and never had to use them. And as the operating system switched over to where I could use things like Backblaze, and I could reload the software if I could connect to the internet and just do a completely clean sweep. I'll tell you, you need to have that cleanse every couple of years anyways, because it removes all the junk, and it's like almost, maybe if it's just for a brief period of time, it's like, hey, I got a new system here. So I'm not afraid of that. I keep stuff on Backblaze. I also copy some other essential media that I produce that I don't want to lose any other way. I put it on hard drives. And that's sort of my backup system right now. So I'm not mourning not having bootable backups.
Okay. All right. Let's move on and let's talk about AppleCare Plus. It looks like Apple has raised some subscription pricing for the iPhone, increased the monthly AppleCare Plus subscription prices for the iPhone, raising it about 50 cents for all models in the United States. For the iPhone 16 model was now priced at $10.49 a month versus $9.99 a month. And the 2-year subscription prices have not changed, but nor have the service fees and deductibles. The increased prices are only applicable when you are on a monthly basis. And they have not raised the prices on any other products like an iPad, a Mac, or an Apple Watch. So they're tweaking this because it's a monthly subscription, and it prepares to shift purchasing options to subscriptions. You can make more money on subscriptions, right? They're phasing out the one-time purchase AppleCare Plus in the retail stores and for on-device purchase as of this week. So you can do this online if you wanted to get the annual and a monthly or annual price to do that, but which will eliminate any lapse in coverage. Then it provides Apple ongoing revenue after a 2-year period. So they'll keep it on the online store. So to do that. So what do you guys think on this? Chuck, what do you think on this change?
Look, prices are going up on everything, and so the price increases don't bother me. The only thing I'm just slightly concerned with, I understand that they want to generate that continuing revenue. But this thing of I can only buy AppleCare, I guess the 2-year package one way, one place, but if I want to do something else, I got to go over here. This just is creating friction. I'm afraid it's creating friction for people to buy AppleCare. It's like, because if I decide, well, I can't get it in the store, I'll buy it when I go home and can log in, and then I forget, and then something happens. That's not going to be good. So I'm not quite sure I completely get the logic of introducing this friction to a particular product. But other than that, I think it's fine. It's, in some ways, it's nice that you have the two options, but why wouldn't you give those both options in both places?
Yeah. And for example, I have an M1 MacBook Pro 16-inch that I purchased a number of years ago. It's expired in 2025, but I do have the option for another. I think it's like another 31 days that I can purchase a 1-year extension to my AppleCare coverage on this computer, which I might do because this still is a perfectly good laptop. So, but I'm just kind of waiting. Make decides it's going to cost me either $14.99 a month, or I can pay $149.99 for the whole year. So they're doing that on the older models, but it looks like doing it as a subscription through the product, it's going to be monthly. So that's going to see where it's at. It's going to be interesting. So I always buy AppleCare Plus on most of, not all of my Apple products. I think it's very important. It's always come in handy many times. So, Kelly, what do you think on this?
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't start talking and then figure out that I was muted. So, I think it's just an adjustment. The inconsistent experience is the part that's weird. And I'm always grumpy when Apple does that. I'm still mad about where the microphone is on the iPad keyboard. I am apparently the only person who apparently notices this, or that you don't restart everything by going to the same, settings, general software update is not the same everywhere. Because on the Apple TV, it's in a different spot. I would rather they were trying to sort of make those things more consistent than finding a way to screw around with this. But I am glad about one of the changes that they have, not super recently, but lately made, is that you can continue to renew for an additional year. Once it's no longer under AppleCare, it used to be like you bought your 3 years and that was it. And
Right.
I like that they do let you renew that, because there are people who feel a lot better about having the rust undercoating on their MacBook Pro, right? And want to be able to get that for another couple of years. And, again, talking about making it easy for people to give you money, so I'm glad that they're offering additional options. I'm a little worried about the rollout because it's an inconsistent experience, and for it to be really confusing for people. But other than that, I'm glad that they're continuing to do it.
Yep. Ben, what do you think?
Like it or not, Apple is pivoting to a point where services is a very important part of their business revenue.
Sure is.
I'm slightly worried in where this might be going, opposed to consumer experience.
Yeah.
But, the Apple subscription model is here. And it's going to be staying here. And
like everybody.
Yeah. The more money they can make per subscriptions, it's the second highest revenue maker after the iPhone. So
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The guy, what do you think?
Yeah, I really wish they hadn't have done this. I can understand it from a company like Adobe, who's kind of a one product wonder. It's their software, and that's about it. I can sort of understand it with Microsoft because they have Windows and they have Office and a sprinkling of other little things all around, but really nothing that's significant. Right. Apple, on the other hand, has 5 or 6 revenue streams that make them quite a bit of money. So why, I mean, certainly offer it, but why take the other option away for people who like, okay, I don't want to think about it for a year, one and done, here's my money, and protect my machine for the next year. Because if for some reason something happens where their subscription gets screwed up and they don't realize that they didn't have it for that month, and then now they're screwed because something goes wrong with their machine and they got nothing. So to take away the option where you can pay for it for 1, 2, 3 years all in advance and not have to worry about it for typically the time when it's most likely that something is going to go wrong with whatever kind of tech it is that you bought. So why not just offer both options? It's not like Apple needs a continuing revenue stream in really any part of their business other than services. And I don't get it and I don't like it.
Yep. And last on this was with Marty.
Y'all didn't read the article very well. Did you realize that these rules are completely different in the Southern Hemisphere? I didn't think about it in terms of having multiple different rules for different places, like Chuck introduced early on. But that is rather confusing. I get AppleCare for my family when we get them products or when they're using products, and they get the full benefit of AppleCare. I pay for AppleCare on all my products and never break a damn thing. So they owe me some kickback, I think, on it. I maybe don't mind going to the monthly basis because I get something, I buy a 2-year contract, and the next year I'm trying to sell it back or get rid of it. Then I have to call Apple to figure out how to transfer that or get a refund on it. With a month to month, it's like month, sell the product, drop it, new product, month, and go on. It just seems
except most people don't do that with their tech. Most people, like my wife and her 2017 iMac, they're holding on to it for 3 to 5 years. So they're not really, because I mean, once you get past that 3-year mark, you're not really going to keep getting AppleCare for it, even if it's offered.
Yeah, I get that.
If you have a lot of Apple gear, you might be looking at that monthly subscription and going, holy crap, I'm spending $100+ a month just on AppleCare for all the devices that I have.
Yeah. All right. Well, good discussion on this. It was definitely some changes to where the AppleCare is going to be. So we will see what happens with that. So, but let's go ahead and move on. If anybody doesn't already know, Apple did launch a new Invites app. And what this is it's designed to allow users to plan events like birthday parties, graduations, vacations, baby showers, and much more. Your events come to life from the moment the invitation is created, and users can share lasting memories even after they get together. The product marketing is, of course, got to tell us those things, but it is designed with Apple Intelligence in mind. When you create an invite, it'll give you the option of using Image Playground. I played around with that; it was kind of cool. And then create original images, and then text-based solutions, and then inviting people. It is incorporated into the iCloud Plus service, which is part of the iCloud subscription. That starts, of course, 99 cents a month. We'll give you that access to do that. And while anyone is able to respond to the invites that are sent out, creating invites is limited to iCloud Plus subscribers. So I did send the link, and anyone with an iPhone had to download it. So, anybody tried this yet? Have you seen this yet, Kelly?
I haven't yet. I do want to check it out. I do have an event regularly that I like to invite people to, and just to skip ahead in the show notes, I've been using Partiful to do this, and so I'm curious what it's going to be like. My primary concern about it is what happens if I'm what happens with the green bubble people, right?
Mhm.
Like if I try to use the invite and I send it to someone who's an Android user, what happens? Because I happen to know, like if you're in Maps and you do the share route and you share it with somebody who's not on an iPhone, they just get a text that's like, Kelly's coming to this location eventually. Like it's not helpful or useful in any way the way it is if you get it on an iPhone. So I'm curious what the experience is like if you invite somebody who does not have an iPhone that gets this invite. So like if the only part that really matters is that I have an iPhone and I'm using this and I can manage all my event that way, that's one thing. But if you're going to give an Android user a bad experience, then I'm going to stick with Partyful because at least it's the same for everybody.
Okay. Chuck, what do you think?
I need more time to digest this. And like Kelly, I want to find out a little bit more about the cross-platform part. I can see this as being extremely useful, especially with some of the things that I know there's another article you're going to get to here with some of the other features that were not well publicized at first. I like the idea. I mean, there are a few parts of it that are just like, okay, fine. I can create some, image, playground image. That's great. Some of the other more interactive aspects of it, I really like. But I would want to make sure that if I were going to implement this for anything other than just casual, friend get-togethers, because frankly, I'm looking at it as the next step, would be for something challenging, something like Eventbrite, where you want to see some revenue, there's some revenue. If they could do some of this cross-platform and put some of these features in, I'm not as worried about Partyful as I am not worried, but I'm looking beyond Partyful because that feels, with no disrespect intended, just a little fluffy. But if they could turn this into a business invitation tool, I think that could change a whole lot of things.
Ben, what do you think? Have you tried it?
I haven't. Truth be told, I don't think I'm exactly the target audience for this type of app.
Sure.
And honestly, because of the whole green bubble people thing, most of the time when I'm going to create a map, my brain isn't working, an event, it's probably going to be within Facebook. But I mean, I do see, for the same people that will use Genmoji and all that type of stuff, this does really up the presentation when it comes to invites.
Great. Marty, have you tried it?
I tried it, and I can tell you what happens to the green bubble people. They respond to my invitation. It's the Apple people I send it to who don't respond to my invitation. And screw them. I was going to give them great party favors, but they're not coming. It is pretty impressive. I'd like to say it finally, using it, I finally found a reason to use Playground. I had no other reason to use it before then. And it was kind of fun to create the image that I wanted with all the stuff I wanted to put in it, and have that come out. And it did. I sent it to about 6 people, 2 of them being Android folks and husband and wife. And the husband responded to me saying, "Yeah, we'll be there," in a text message. He didn't use the invitation to do it. He just texted me back. And when I went to look at what he got when I sent him the invitation, gave me a little viewing window with a movie arrow on it, and I clicked on the movie arrow, and it just kind of opened up the image. I don't think anything beyond that was usable, but it was the invitation for them to use. So there's going to be that green bubble, blue bubble thing with it, but at least the green bubble people answer your invitations.
Yeah. I'll go over real quickly what the 5 features that Apple missed talking about it. You're able to quickly recreate event invites. You can customize your notifications. There's privacy features for the events, which are like requiring approval for RSVPs before they're confirmed. Hide key details until guests are confirmed, such as location, guest list, and event background image and more. And creating one-time use invites personalized for specific guests or a generic link that works for anyone. Special guest permissions, as you might expect, because it's privacy. They get their own special invite, and then you can draft in advance and then save your work, which is another cool thing that you can do. So I guess the jury's out on it still. It's only been out for a few days. Of course, they've already sent out an update to it, so the app has been updated. So it's definitely something that is going to continue to be updated, I'm sure. And like you said, we have an article in the show notes about how it works on Android. It looks like it goes web-based, so it kind of works, but it's not going to go into the invites app like the iPhone users are going to be able to use as well. So with that, let's go on and move on to some of the news for this week. First one was Apple Music. Apple Music is now offering a 6-month trial for just $2.99 through the end of February. It's through the 27th of February, 2025. New and eligible subscribers in the U.S. can try out Apple Music for 6 months, just for that single $3 payment. Beyond first-time subscribers, Apple does not explain who is quote-unquote eligible for this offer. If you've subscribed to Apple Music in the past, you can go and see what the offer page, if you're qualified, if you've not been a subscriber. So I think this is interesting because I think it's in conjunction with the Kendrick Lamar going to be performing at halftime in the Super Bowl for Apple Music, who is sponsoring it. So I'm pretty sure that's a good motivating factor for them to do that, since it generates some more interest.
I wonder if Drake will be there.
He might.
Send him an invite.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Marty, I never got mine.
Green bubble, and
yeah.
Not
green
fair.
bubble. Drake won't reply.
What do you think, Kelly?
They just want to reel people into Apple Music. I think maybe the smarter move would be the month around the Super Bowl would be just free for everybody so that they can show this off. But I'm a little surprised that it's for 6 months, but maybe they just wanted people to forget that they had paid it, and then in July or whatever, all of a sudden everybody gets dinged for their $10 a month or whatever. So who knows?
Yep. How about you, Guy? What's your thoughts?
Columbia Music House, Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me tape 2 quarters to this postcard and mail it off.
Yes. I still owe them for my 10 CDs.
Yeah, well, for me, it was like 10 LPs.
CDs
and cassettes.
Guys got 8 tracks. Yeah.
I do. I just plug them right into the front of my head. The fact that it's what, $2.99, $3.99? What was the total?
$2.99.
$2.99. Good God. Just sign up for it, because that's a hell of a price.
Yeah.
And even if you forget about it after 6 months and you end up paying another however much it is and then cancel it, you're still getting off so much cheaper than all of us who have Apple One Plus. So just something to think about there.
Ben, thoughts?
Yeah, this is a good deal. I'm kind of hoping those of us who are temporarily canceling Apple One will be able to take advantage of it, because that would end up saving me a lot of money, especially since T-Mobile is paying for my Apple TV Plus technically.
There you go.
But yeah, Apple's betting that they have a better product than Spotify. I think they do. And it's a good time to launch it.
Yep. Chuck?
Ben really just said it well. I think Apple has a better product. I know Spotify has tried a lot of things, and it seems like they execute okay on a lot of them, but they're also some of them that they feel like attempts at value add, or the kind of value adds that really nobody cares about, or they aren't delivering really what they should. So, and Apple is combating Spotify in so many areas. I think this is great. That ties in with the Super Bowl well. And whoever said it, I think it was Guy, for $3, why wouldn't you sign up and get a taste of it and see how the other half lives? I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I wonder who will run out of money first, Spotify or Apple?
I don't think it's Apple. All right, a couple more stories before we wrap up. Ted Lasso season 4 to focus on the formation of AFC Richmond's women's team. The popular Apple TV Plus series Ted Lasso is expected to return for a 4th season that primarily revolves around that AFC Richmond's women's team. Rumors surrounding the alleged 4th season hit the sports comedy have emerged, and following claims that the filming is entered into pre-production in January of 2025, we have now more details. According to a social media post by Sigmund Judge, the 4th season will focus on the formation of that team, and rather than the men's team, feature some previous seasons. And they're planning on beginning filming of that series in May or June of 2025 in London. So, it's been since 2022 when the 3rd season ended. It's been a long time. I'm definitely hoping and praying that this is going to happen, right, Kelly?
I am so excited.
Me too.
I cannot wait for this. It, to the best of my knowledge, and I haven't spent a ton of time on it, but a lot of the people who were involved in creating the first 3 seasons of the show are the people that are involved with this season. And so it's going to have, if we've got a lot of the same creative behind it, then it's going to be in a similar vein, in a similar fashion. And with those, then it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be exactly what I said on a number of podcasts about the end of the 3rd season, which was getting to go back to that world is going to be great. It doesn't necessarily need Ted, because all of those other characters were really interesting and fun to hang out with, and it'll be great to see. It'll be great to see what they're up to now. That was one of the things I always really liked about that show, is you could pick someone who had the least amount of lines, and that character is probably more interesting and well developed than sometimes the character a show is named after in some instances. So getting to go back and check in with all those folks again, and also just sort of on the meta level, knowing how much they all enjoyed working together, and how they all talked about what a great experience it had been, and what fun it was, and how much they enjoyed it. I'm sort of excited for them to get to kind of go back and hang out with all their friends again, and get to do more of this. And I'm really excited to see it.
Great. Chuck, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared because Ted Lasso was such a great series. It had great characters. It had so many great characters. And when I found out about this, the little bit that seems to be known, I'm with Kelly about the creative team. So that's a pro. I'm a little concerned about having to redevelop a whole new set of characters with, maybe only a few carryovers or a few cameos. I can think of a few spinoffs, that have happened in the past that died horrible deaths because of that. And so I really want this to succeed. I hope it succeeds. I'm rooting for it. I will be watching it. I just am concerned.
Yeah. Now, this could be great. This could also be Coach, the Orlando expansion years, or Scrubs in the teaching hospital.
Yeah, that was rough. I would like to think that Bill Lawrence learned some lessons from that final season of Scrubs, and maybe that's not what's going to happen to Ted Lasso. I think, like Chuck, like you, like I'm worried about, having to like reinvent the wheel for this, for, especially for people, how do they draw walk the line between people who perhaps have the entire first season of this show memorized, and I don't know who any of those people would be, or people who have never heard about it and are coming in on it, just at this season. So I'm hopeful that it ends up doing really well. And I, given the people that are probably going to be the same, my concern that Ted Lasso is not part of the show that is named Ted Lasso is is way down the list of things that I'm worried about. Like, I know that they built the show around him, but I also don't think that the absence of Ted, or maybe his mustache, but not Ted himself, isn't going to be a huge impact on the show. I don't think. So, because of how well they built, the infrastructure, the world, the club, the people around it, the other owners, the other teams, all those kinds of things. As far as we know, none of that stuff has changed. And so as long as we're just going back to the same place and we're getting a different team, then I'm more optimistic about it.
Yeah, I mean, and they could all.
My feelings, because I loved the show. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't continue it without him and just at least have at least one season after he had left to see how the team did after that. But as far as the new show goes, I guess what I'm kind of wondering is he going to have the same office with the great big glass window that sees into the locker room, or is that going to have to change a little bit?
Well, it depends who the coach is.
Yeah. Yeah, but if it's Ted Lasso.
Ted went home. He's not going to... I don't even think it's going to be called Ted Lasso. It's probably just going to be, Richmond FC or something. And
Richmond FC Women's. Yeah. I mean, they might do the Knives Out thing where they add like a Ted Lasso series or something to the end. But
Yeah.
All right. Last word from Marty.
Loved it when the show came out. Watched it religiously, did not binge watch it, wanted to, have it revealed to me over a period of time. My concern is at this point, it might be short attention span theater for me. I can't remember a lot about the series, and that's maybe my memory or the way I encoded it, but I'm going to have to go back and watch it to remember to fully appreciate the nuances of the next season. My fear is I'll do that and go, I don't know if I want to spend another season with this. So we'll see. It means I'm going to do a lot of rewatching, and hopefully it hasn't already jumped a shark. Will it survive without some of the main characters? Will it survive? It'll be on an individual basis. There'll be people who love it till it dies, and there'll be folks who won't even get back on the horse.
Personally, I'm just waiting for the inevitable crossover with the Buffy reboot.
With what?
Yeah, a Buffy reboot. All right, that was a great show. Really appreciate you all being here this week. We had a great panel here this week, as well as great people in the chat and on youtube.com/IntouchedByOS. Let's go ahead and wrap up this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchedbyos.com. You can follow us on Mastodon or even Blue Sky at IntouchedByOS. Support the show by buying me a coffee, IntouchedByOS.com. /coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/IntouchedByOS. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe when you're notified when we're live streaming, which is Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/IntouchedByOS. Thanks to Cletus and Webb and others that were out there in the live chat. You can watch the live stream at that time, as well as you can watch the past live streams and listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics are slipped into the magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can also subscribe to the show on all your favorite podcatchers. But better yet, just go to our website, which is IntouchedByOS.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. And I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65. Kelly Guimont, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you?
So much for having me. I'm always excited to be here. Hopefully, I can join again. Sometimes if our rehearsal schedule changes, then I can be around. You can generally find me on Mastodon. You can occasionally find me over on the Incomparable Network, where I also talk about things like the movie Saturday Night, or play a game show where we try to guess the answers that Incomparable listeners give to things like Doctor Who related questions. You can sometimes find me over there on the game show or on the Football is Life podcast, since that's a good one to plug right now, where we went back through and watched. We did a rewatch of the first 2 seasons of Ted Lasso before the 3rd season came out, and so I show up on a few of those. Even hosted a couple. And you can find me on the After Show at aftershowpodcast.com, brought to you by Weather Alibi, which is mostly just Mike Rose and I making up reasons to continue to chit-chat with each other. And we record it and let other people listen to it too. And the rest of the time, you can find me playing Pokemon Go.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, Kelly. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Guy Serle, thank you for being here this week. I really appreciate
Thanks
it.
Thanks for having me on. Of course,
where can people find you?
Along with Gaz, I'm on the... Oh, I'm sorry. Did I jump?
No, I was just waving to Kelly.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm on the mymac.com podcast. We just had our 1000th show a couple of weeks ago. And because I'm schizophrenic, you can find me on both X and Blue Sky as Mac Parrot. Pretty much... That's it as far as social media goes. Don't have a whole lot of time to hit all the rest of them. There's just too many of them out there to deal with. So I just go, if I'm feeling righty, I'm on X. If I'm feeling lefty, I'm on Blue Sky. So that's how that works.
All right. Good deal. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Chuck Joyner, thanks to you for being here. As always, we appreciate it when you come on the show and give us your wisdom. Where can people find you?
I thought you said hug there for a minute.
I did hug, no. I said wisdom.
Wisdom? I didn't know I had it. But thank you for giving me the credit, Dave. MacVoices.com is where you can find me, and I'm Chuck Joyner on pretty much all the social media sites. We are in the midst of releasing our CES interviews, and boy, are there a lot of them, and boy, are they good. So please go check them out.
Great. Thanks for being here. Ben Roethig, thank you for being here. Glad we were able to make it this week. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on your social media choice at Ben Roethig. You can find my writing and ravings at roethigtech.com. And you can also find me on such podcasts occasionally, such as Mac Voices Live with this Chuck Joyner guy. The British Tech Network, specifically the Mac and Big shows, and of course here on In Touch with iOS.
All right. Thanks so much, Ben. Last but certainly not least, Marty Jencius, I really appreciate you being here. Where can people find you?
It's always fun. It's always good. Hey, I really like Chuck's. Is that a sweater or a pullover, Chuck?
Yes.
It's a
thank you.
Great color. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's not exactly it's not exactly a sweatshirt. It's not exactly a sweater. It's its own thing.
Yes,
but thanks.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Jencius, Jencius at Blue Sky. Never on Twitter. And you can find most of my shows at thepodtalk.net, which include Vision Profiles. We're doing our 30th show, Guy.
Nice.
Or no, 40th show. 40th show.
Okay, you only need 960 more.
I know. When I hear these numbers you guys throw out, it's like, ugh. Not ugh. I think it's great, but no, never get
Gaz
there.
is the one that's going, ugh.
Yeah. So you can find me on Vision Profiles Monday nights at 9:00 with Eric Bolden. Also Tuesdays with Chuck Joyner and the gang on Mac Voices Live. Thursdays here on In Touch with iOS. Wednesday, I do a little thing called the Old Mac Gang. I'm doing another one called Gear Up and Go with my son about travel tech. Yeah.
Man, you're busy.
Thepodtalk.net. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. And thank all of you for listening and for being here. Everybody in the chat room and on YouTube, we appreciate you being here. We will be back next week. But until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again soon.